Before I started working on Unorthodox, I did not know a lot about Jewish religion or the Jewish culture or anything really about the Jewish community, to be honest, because I grew up Afrikaans. I went to an Afrikaans school, so it's not in your surroundings at all. I would have never thought that one day I would have been working on a show like Unorthodox and learned so much about the Jewish and the religion and how that works.
To me, the story is about a young woman who is searching for herself, and she's searching for her community in the world.
She grows up in a very religious neighborhood and frees herself from an unhappy arranged marriage and flees to Berlin.
As a person from a Hasidic background, it was wonderful and interesting to have this opportunity to work on the set of Unorthodox. The character that I was playing, the rabbi, is kind of the voice of the community. And he was the only true villain in the story, in a sense. Everybody else is a victim of the system. Everybody else is a product of the system. And everything he says are lines that I was involved in the writing of them, and that I myself experienced them in my own life, in my own history, while leaving the Hasidic community. But then I was also involved in every other aspect of the show as well, creatively and behind the scenes with the cast, with the crew, with the director. My primary concern is authenticity and representation, and making that community, that world, which is woefully, I wouldn't say underrepresented in Hollywood, but rather misrepresented.
Ellie and I had a conversation on set about, he asked me, is there a big Jewish community in South Africa? But I was thinking about Orthodox Jews, not just Jewish people. So I still told him, not really. So, and I think he's probably laughing now, seeing as he's on the show, and it isn't a Jewish show, and there is a community. But in terms of Orthodox, no, I've never seen ones with the streamers, which is with the hats and the whole out attire. I've never seen that in South Africa, and I still don't know if like those Hasidic Jews exist here.
A series in Yiddish, for me also personally, I think it's a great thing.
With respect to this Yiddish Renaissance or Hasidic Renaissance in art and culture, I think a lot has been said about it, and but I think there are several aspects to it. First of all, I don't think that's specific or particular to Jews or Hasidic Jews or the Hasidic community, or Yiddish for that matter. I think for the longest time there's been this disinclination to engaging with foreign cultures and foreign languages. Americans would not watch movies or television with subtitles. They just wouldn't. But I think in the last several years, there's been this movement toward globalization, toward consuming other cultures, other languages, becoming more aware of other cultures, which is to say that in any setting, instead of forcing the characters in an unnatural way to speak English when they would not normally speak English, whether it's a film about French people or about Russians or Germans or what have you, actually have them speak in their native tongue or speak whatever languages they would normally speak in that setting. So it's a wonderful thing that there is this awareness about culture and about language, and that people are able to tell their stories in their own language.
Nicht Schäferle, du bist gewesen so excited für den.
Tate, Leini, ich will bei dir für Kasches.
One of the things that we attempted to do, and that we hope we succeeded at doing, is to also show the beauty of the culture, the humanity of it, the trauma in it. And, not just to kind of call out or highlight some of the more problematic aspects of it. And that's why we went to so much detail to portray a wedding, to portray a Passover Seder, to portray the beauty even of like the quieter moments, the Shabbat dinner. Yes, we use them as tools to tell the story of Esty leaving, but we also went to great pains to portray the beauty in it and to show kind of her reluctance at leaving, and how hard it was for her to leave and how much she missed her family and missed her grandmother, despite all the hardships. And there's a reason why it's so hard for people to leave, because the families are so close-knit, the community is so tight-knit, there was so much love, there was so much warmth. And the problem I have is not that the community exists. I think it's a beautiful thing. The problem is that people aren't really given a real choice. And a lot of them are also not given the tools to survive in the outside world. They don't have a real secular education. The economy, their professional life is all kind of set up in a way that they're completely dependent on the community for support. And so nobody's given real choice. And of course, least of all the women.
What really shook me was the part where Esty's hair gets shaved. And I was like, why would she's got such beautiful hair. Why would a girl want to shave her hair? And it was very emotional because even for Esty, and she was so emotional and those tears were real. It actually made me very emotional as watching. Also, like, I don't know if I could do that.
It took everything I had to stop myself from running in and grabbing the clippers out of Anne's. I left the Hasidic community. It was a long process. It took me over 20 years. So my story is very different from Esty's. But there was a point in my life where I cut off my payas. I was alone in a bathroom, and I kind of left them lying there on the sink, on the vanity. And those are one of those moments that stay with you for the rest of your lives. So it was really incredible to kind of see that, in a sense, recreated on camera. We talked a lot about authenticity and representation, and I think the response to the show really validates the work that we put into that. We've gotten so many messages from around the world, especially in Middle Eastern countries, especially in Muslim countries, that related and engaged with the show in a way we couldn't have anticipated. They all say, this is our world. We recognize these people, we recognize this world, and it made them sympathize with Jews and Judaism in a way they never had before, in their own words. The criticism that we have received, which, by the way, only comes from within the Jewish community, and it comes from this misplaced fear that this will stoke anti-Semitism. And my response to that is, well, first of all, I don't think telling Jewish stories could possibly stoke anti-Semitism. I mean, if we stoke anti-Semitism simply by existing, then there's a larger problem there. But also, I don't think anti-Semites need our help. I think they do just fine without us. I think that the more they experience Jewish stories, the more they see characters that are similar to their own world, that are just as human, that are just as complicated, that are just as conflicted, and have the same struggles as we all do. The more they come to know us, the more they sympathize with us, and the less they other us and they hate us. One person tweeted in Turkish that this is the first time I cried over somebody Jewish. And to me, that speaks volumes. I've even received a lot of feedback from within the Satmar community, from within the Hasidic community, just raving about how accurate and detailed and wonderful these characters are, and this world is, and appreciating it, and feeling seen and heard for the first time.
So I think why there's suddenly an interest in series like Unorthodox, when it comes to stories like Esti's story, her leaving a community without education, without money, and all of that, and without knowing how things really work in the secular world, makes it for so incredibly difficult, and just that journey for her, and that is empowering, I think, for a lot of people to see, well, if a girl like Esti could go through all of that, it makes you look at your own situation, and for me that makes it very powerful. I think it just really brings meaning to people in their lives when they watch stories such as Esti's.